distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the President of the ECOWAS Commission, His Excellency Dr. Omar Aliu Toure, I wish to welcome our distinguished guests and participants to the inaugural African Chiefs of Defense Staff Summit. It is my honor to acknowledge the presence, first and foremost, of His Excellency Kashim Shettima, Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, ably representing His Excellency Bola Tinubu, President and Chief, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, the Deputy Secretary-General of the United Nations, Her Excellency Amina Mohammed. I would also, like to recognize the presence of Mohammed Badaro Abubakar, ably represented by the Minister of State, and then other honorable members of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, leadership of the Senate, House of Representatives. Here with us also, I want to, recognize the tireless efforts also of the Chief of Defense of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, General Christopher, and his peers from across the African continent, and all the chiefs of our defense and intelligence services across the continent here present. There are a number of dignitaries from West Africa also here present, and I crave your indulgence just to recognize a few of them. And I'm being a bit selfish because these are the former leadership of the ECOWAS Commission. First, His Excellency Lansana Kouyaté, former Executive Secretary of ECOWAS Commission, and His Excellency Mohammed Ibn Chambers, the first President of the ECOWAS Commission, here present. And our number one partner within the international community, His Excellency Leonardo Simao, the Special Representative of the Secretary General for West Africa and head of this inaugural summit of the African Chiefs of Defense Staff under the theme Combating Contemporary Threats to Regional Peace and Security in Africa, the Role of Strategic Defense Collaboration, is a logical sequel to Nigerian-led continental initiative born out of the vision and determination of His Excellency Bola Tinubu, GCFR, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to empower the peace and security intelligence establishments in this country to regionalize their initiatives to benefit the entire continent. This bold foresight has materialized in, among other endeavors, the ongoing transformation of the National Counterterrorism Center in Nigeria into an African non-kinetic counterterrorism center. The efforts to establish the combined maritime task force, which will secure the combined exclusive maritime economic zone to spur the operationalization of the African continental free trade area, including by securing the maritime trade corridors linking West and Central Africa to the Americas, Asia, and Europe. The Joint Doctrine and Warfare Center, recently inaugurated in Abuja, is a microcosm of the key objectives of this summit. That is, ensuring intelligence sharing, coordinated and interoperable approaches to responses to the myriad insecurity facing the continent. ECOWAS is therefore incredibly delighted and welcomes this groundbreaking summit that will, among other objectives, be discussing border management and regional security, leveraging artificial intelligence for regional security, as well as the cardinal importance of regional cooperation in responding to threats posed by terrorism and violent extremism, banditry, transnational organized crime on land, at sea, and in the skies. And most importantly, the objective to integrate the continent's burgeoning private sector into the security discourse. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, no region in Africa is spared the scourge of terrorism, civil and predatory wars, organized crime, and underdevelopment. The conflict in Eastern DRC impacts the entire Great Lakes region and beyond. The crisis in Central Africa directly impacts West Africa. And the unresolved crisis in Libya and Sudan generate and allow an inflow of terrorists into the Sahel and beyond. The various crises may be local, but they require a coordinated continental response, with the African Union serving as the glue and the ultimate coordinating hub for these endeavors. There is no gainsaying that West Africa, in particular the Sahel sub-region, has emerged as the epicenter of global terrorism, with several analytical surveys indicating that the Sahel accounted for 51% of global terrorism deaths in 2024 alone. In disparate efforts to counter terrorism in the region, some ethnic groups have been collectively and unjustifiably demonized, associating them with terrorist franchises and thus igniting civil wars alongside the fight against terrorism. In the same vein, local communities in the periphery, women and children in particular, have borne the brunt of state retreat and the coercive protection of jihadist forces. In between, the war economy is thriving from illegal mining, forced protection, and illegal taxation. The preponderance of young people under 25 in the continent, instead of being the agents of demographic dividend, are turning into a curse due to state failings and the allure of quick financial dividends being offered by the operators of the war economy. Underlying this phenomena is the explosion of technology, sophisticated autonomous weapon systems, and the pervasive influence of social media. Against this backdrop, ECOWAS continues to manage and repair the fallout between the community and the alliance of the Sahel states, which are decided to withdraw from the ECOWAS community, alongside intensive diplomatic overtures and aimed at reuniting the region. The ECOWAS heads of state and government have taken the strategic decision in the spirit of regional solidarity to safeguard the interests of all community citizens by allowing citizens of the AES to continue to enjoy all the benefits of regional integration project launched some 50 years ago today, including the free movement of persons and the right of abode and the freedom to do trade across the entire region. The Republic of Benin is not free from the terrorist incursion so long as terrorism festers in its northern neighbors. The same can be said of all the other littoral states bordering the Sahel, thanks to porous borders, weak border security, and cross-border ethnic and trade relations knitted together over the centuries. With the interlocking and mutually destructive nature of terrorism and organized crime for the entire region, ECOWAS continues to encourage collaboration on security matters with our brothers and sisters of the Alliance of the Sahelian States, despite probably lingering political differences. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, ECOWAS is acutely aware of the threat of renewed geostrategic and geopolitical processes unfolding in West Africa and beyond that threaten renewed proxy wars akin to the Cold War era, due in part to the acute insecurity facing the continent, and it is determined to avert this scenario. A first step in this direction is our efforts to scale up counterterrorism efforts. On the directive of the ECOWAS heads of state and government, the organization is in the process of activating a 260,000 rapid deployment counterterrorism brigade and to provide logistic and financial support to frontline states facing terrorism. While ECOWAS remains firmly committed to raising its 5,000-man brigade under the auspices of the African Peace and Security Architecture, and more particularly the Continental Standby Force, the activation of this rapid deployment force has become a necessity given the asymmetric security dynamics in the region. We are conscious of the fact that this bold initiative requires the necessary financial resources and capabilities to make it a reality. To this end, the Ministers of Finance and Defense to agree on the concrete funding modalities to raise an annual budget of 2.5 billion toward the activation of the regional counterterrorism force. The meeting of these ministers is taking place this Friday in Abuja. By this initiative, ECOWAS is also throwing the gauntlet to bilateral and multilateral partners to complement this daring regional initiative. In particular, we hope that this summit send nations to redeem the pledge made under United Nations Security Council Resolution 2719 of December 2023 to fund 75% of African-led peace support operations. Besides the counterterrorism effort, ECOWAS is also pursuing the operationalization of its integrated maritime security with the establishment of 3 integrated maritime centers across the region and an international maritime coordinating center in Abidjan, as well as in its strategy on countering transnational organized crime, among others. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, while expressing ECOWAS's deep appreciation to the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the Chief of Defense Staff for this groundbreaking and promising initiative, we encourage participants at this summit to crown deliberations with concrete, practical, and innovative recommendations on to the hybrid security challenges, the myriad security challenges facing Africa, and to advance our aspirations for the Africa that we want. Many thanks for your attention and wishing all of us fruitful deliberations. Thank you very much.